What's up? Checking that on this YMW Melly stuff. I heard somebody took a plea deal, so it ain't looking good for him. You know what I mean? Plea deal. One second, y'all. Here we go right here.
Sentences with an additional 75 years in Florida.
One second, y'all. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. You dig?
Additional 75 years in Florida State Prison. Portland's legal team was able to do the damn near impossible. Pleading no contest, the state agreed to drop 2 counts of first-degree murder for the shooting deaths of YMW Juvie and Sack Chaser. They'd also drop a conspiracy to tamper with a witness and a count of directing gang activities. By entering a plea of no contest, Portland has not admitted guilt, has not admitted the existence or involvement in a gang, and has not implicated himself or others in a murder. In exchange for his plea, Portland has been found guilty of 1 count of tampering with a witness, 2 counts of being an accessory to a capital felony, and 1 count of unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Portland has been sentenced to 10 years in Florida State Prison on these charges, to be followed by 6 years of probation. He was also credited for his time in jail. Portland was arrested back in 2019 and wouldn't receive a bond for 15 months. In October of 2023, he'd be rearrested, remaining in jail until now, lasting an additional 23 months. In all, Portland did a total of 38 months in jail, just over 3 years, meaning his 10-year sentence is already down to 7.
Yep.
Due to Florida law, 85% of a prison sentence must be completed. So if Portland is on his best behavior, he could be
Hold on, let me see what it said. 7 years.
an additional 23 months. In all, Portland did a total of 38 months in jail, just over 3 years, meaning his 10-year sentence is already down to 7.
Damn.
Due to Florida law, 85% of a prison sentence must be completed. So if Portland is on his best behavior, he could be released in just under 6 years at the young age of 32. This plea deal for 2 capital murders is nothing short of fucking amazing. And it came with a twist that has the internet going crazy. Just after letting Portland know everything that came with the plea, the judge would highlight the fact that after the plea is made, the state wants to take a proffer from Portland. Immediate flag on the play. A proffer is defined under Florida law as an agreement to speak with prosecutors to share information. This would lead everyone from Say Cheese, academics, No Jumper, my fucking self, and even Melly's old lawyer Bradford Cohen to assume the worst. Portland was now going to snitch on Melly.
All right, let's talk YMW Melly and YMW Portland. He is now doing the triple Lindy. for those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to out the double murder case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens a lot of times, where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years waiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve. He decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time, but
I ain't even gonna lie, I'm gonna start using it instead of calling people rats. Cheese eater. Shut up, you cheese eater. Cheese eater. You're a cheese eater, dog.
Story short is it looks like he's going to flip, and it makes the case on YMW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YMW Melly is responsible. But depending on what he says, it will make the YMW Melly case a lot more difficult to try, but still not impossible. I've had cases where there were flipping witnesses where, I had a federal case with several flipping witnesses where we still got a not guilty. And it's possible to still get a not guilty in this case. Obviously, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. He has an excellent lawyer, by the way, Fred Haddad, who's a friend of job for him. Not to become a mouse or a rat. I'm not sure.
See, that's
sure, but to win.
Now, as a man, I always leave room to stand corrected in any situation. And I have to give a shout out to my boy Seti Nash for his thorough journalism in this case. Portland's main lawyer, Fred Haddad, would release a statement saying, "I don't represent. Portland Henry is not a snitch, and he will not. Anyone who claims different has not seen the plea deal and has no idea what they're talking about." Well, in my humble opinion, what the fuck else would a proffer be other than the snitch? Why would the state want to sit down with Portland if he wasn't obligated by the plea deal to cooperate against the main man they believe is the shooter? Why would Portland's sentence go from 5 life sentences plus serving 7 years in prison? What else would they have to talk about when the only thing left to do in the case is convict Melly? Even the judge would tell Portland in court, "I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off." Well, I reached out to Portland's other lawyer, Joe Nassar, implicating Melly or anything, and will be the last time he appears in a courtroom.
Hey, 1090 Jake. Thanks for giving me the chance to clear up a lot of the confusion and just chaos that's happening online right now after YMW Portland's plea this afternoon went viral on social media.
That's his lawyer. That's YMW Melly's homeboy's lawyer.
It's clear that a lot of people just don't understand what has happened. So I want to start by talking about what he was charged with. He was facing 2 counts: tampering with a witness, conspiracy to tamper with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal gang, and utilization of a two-way communication device to commit a felony. In all, he was facing 5 mandatory life sentences if found guilty, plus an additional 75 years on top of that. The facts of his plea are that he has pled no contest.
Back to live, he's got
It's very important. That means he has not admitted or given information about anybody else. He's been found guilty, but in exchange, the conspiracy to tamper with a witness count and the charge about directing the activities of criminal gang. He's going to be sentenced to 10 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 6 years of probation with credit for time that he has served. And he's required, as a part of that, to sit down and give what's called a proffer. Typically, when you hear the word proffer, especially in a criminal case, it's when a witness offers information or will explain what they would testify to if called at trial or a hearing. It's unfortunate that we use that word today in court because that's not what's going to happen in this case. Portland is not going to sit down and give a lengthy proffer or answer questions about what he would testify to if he were called as a witness, because we don't anticipate him being called as a witness at any trial or any hearing, especially not one involving Melly. What I can tell you is that Portland is not going to implicate anybody else. He's not going to provide information against anybody else. Melly's name is not even going to come out of his mouth. when he's other people. So a lot of people are saying that Bortland's plea and his proffer are going to hurt Melly in some way and affect his trial.
Look, he might not say his name. Does that mean they could ask him things about Melly though? You ain't gotta say his name to talk about somebody.
In the untrue. YW Bortland is not going to be information that's going to impact Melly's trial in any way. Not expected to come and provide information against anybody. So to be clear, will have absolutely no impact on Melly's trial. I want to add just over the past couple weeks. Neither defense nor the
yes, no homo. That's a pretty badass not pretty ass. That's a pretty badass lawyer, man. You know why? Because he didn't have to go on the media unless it's just because he wants to attention and shit, little fame. He didn't have to do all this shit, extra shit. You know what I mean? To go on there and clear it all out and stuff. You know what I mean?
This month, he stayed until after Melly's appeals are resolved and his case died before Bortland's. However, the judge denied our request for a continuance and denied our request to stay Bortland's case pending.
See, I would have been super nice for Melly. Get his case going first, or the court and all that out the way first. That way they can't come back, you know what I mean?
These appeals.
Or in case he's...
So we were moving forward to trial and murder counts. But for Bortland, mandatory life sentences. So for him, he's already served at least half of the sentence already. He doesn't have to admit that he did anything and understand that it was a very tough decision for him. But it was very important to him that his decision have no impact on others.
While we don't know what Bortland will be saying in his proffer with the prosecutors, the judge made it clear whatever he says will have no effect on his plea deal. Meaning, he could apparently say anything, or not much of any. The murders he would be invoking his Fifth Amendment right, which guarantees no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to keep himself from further incriminating himself. We will till it happens, and we'll have to wait until then to see what's actually said. Normally, Melly's mom has remained silent after Bortland's plea, and she was present when it happened. No word has come from Melly's legal team, as he's now represented by legal power, would backtrack from his initial statement about Bortland.
Want to be a successful screenplay? One click.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get fast and furious to my office. People are calling me left and right. They saw the post. You know what time it is. And they are telling me that YNW Bortland is not going to be a flipper, and he is not going to be the cheese eater I previously said that he could become. And he is going, I don't know what that statement's going to be, but his attorney is an excellent attorney. He's one of my good friends and you know, really helped me out as a young attorney. Fred Haddad, a great guy. And he represented very, very few, if any, flippers in the past. That's why I was kind of surprised at first. But it turns out, the rumor on the street, YNW Bortland is not going to be a flipper, but he will give a proffer.
So at this time, I, 1090 Jake, proudly stand corrected. And you know what? When Bortland hits the DOC, I'll reach out to him personally with a, my bad, bro. But you know what I'm saying? I had a co-defendant that took a proffer. He told everything on me. So when I heard proffer, I'm like, no. You know, I'm not a lawyer at the end of the day. None of these guys on YouTube, from Act to Say Cheese to fucking Vlad to Adam22, none of us are lawyers. We've just dealt with so many similar situations that, yeah, we can make a judgment based on what we've already experienced before. We've never heard of a proffer going good. You know what I mean? Like, we've never heard of. I stand corrected, and I'm proud to, because you know what? Bortland has held on for 6, damn near 7 years without folding on his man's Melly. And the fact that he's taken this plea and nothing is going to affect Melly, that's some soldier shit. because he could have folded a long time ago. So like I said, we'll just have to wait and see when the profit actually happens. I'm sure everyone's going to request it. We're going to see what's said. And then Melly's trial. But hey, let me know y'all's thoughts and comments in the comment section. It's 1090J.
Yeah.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? First up, let's talk
Cross snitching or not? Well, shit, I'm out too.